And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I'm here with Charley Mann. And well, Charley, first of all, thank you, brother, for spending some time with me and being my guest today.
I love the energy, Michael. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Man, it's great. Charley, I've been around Charley for a long, long time, and he's the owner and founder of law firm Alchemy. Love the name, by the way.
No,
And
thank you.
Charley, really, you work with law firms to help them, as I say, you want to help them build a law firm and enjoy their life. And I
Yes.
know everything that you teach. I've been under your teaching and things applies to every kind of business owner. You just happen to be in the law firm world and have been for a long, long time. So let's talk about all of that. But tell me, as we jump into the deep end here, Charley, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, it's awesome. Brian Kurtz, he's not the origin person here, but he talks about having a domino in your life. And one of the big dominoes in my life is Ben Glass. So, as of Great Legal Marketing, and that's where you and I first met. And as I came out of college as a theater major back in the day and was searching for interesting opportunities, there happened to be this jobs posting on Craigslist of all places from this guy Ben Glass. He owned two companies, his law firm and Great Legal Marketing. And I started out mostly working on law firm projects, but over the first about year and a half, really started moving more and more towards the great legal marketing side. And then for the next 12, 13 years, it was a journey of slowly building that company, taking over the operations, the marketing, sitting in rooms with Dan Kennedy and his Titanium Mastermind, Brian Kurtz's Titans Mastermind, learning from some all-time greats and putting together my own sort of system methodology that I wanted to go and explore. And yeah, it was that responding to that one little Craigslist ad that then started this nice long journey working with long firm owners that I love.
Who would have thought that Craigslist could produce all of that, right?
Right.
So every channel is effective when used properly, even Craigslist. So this is
That's
great.
right.
Okay, so let's talk about. I mean, because you work individually and in group settings with attorneys, law firm
Yeah.
owners, small law firms growing to large numbers, really, because of the methodologies that you use and the interactions you have. Let's talk a little bit about just what are the struggles that law firm owners are having that they just keep hitting that wall over and over. Let's talk a few of those, and then we'll talk, how to get past those walls.
It's interesting. I'm going to do the big zoom out version because we could probably talk about, lead generation, et cetera,
Okay.
all those little things. But what I want to start with is a single word, which I think relates to all entrepreneurs, and that is identity. And what happens with a lawyer is in law school, they've been crafted to be this perfect product, essentially, a product that most of the time they're told you need to go sit on someone else's shelves and they will sell you and make you available to the world. So
Mm.
this is the programming that is installed with a lawyer. Now, when they become a law firm owner, all of a sudden there's this other thing they've decided to become, which is an entrepreneur. A new identity is introduced into the equation. And the big work to be done, like in any business, is how do we shift our identity from being the product or service and now make ourselves the entrepreneur
Yeah.
within the business, who's growing it, who's investing, who's exploring and building that entrepreneurial tool set that will allow you to actually take your work to a bigger portion of the world.
Yeah. That's huge. Michael Gerber just came to my mind, E-Myth.
Yes.
Because that's really the journey of most entrepreneurs is I'm a tactician
Yeah.
and I say, I need to go start a business. What did I just get myself into? Because
Truly.
they didn't teach me this at law school, right?
Correct. Yes,
Sure.
as the podcast that I
Yeah.
host is titled, they don't teach us in law school. Well played, Michael. I love
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. No, but it's so good because they don't. And marketing's a hard thing because in business, I mean,
Mhm.
nobody teaches marketing. And the challenge I find, Charley, and I'm sure you see it as well, is business owners, attorneys, they look at what's happening in the world. They look online and they see the next thing. And
Yeah.
they look around and three or four of their peers are doing it. So, oh my God, I better go do that, right?
Yes, there is, we could call it shiny object syndrome, right? That's the term that a lot of folks use.
Yeah.
But it is this there's the shiny object syndrome, but there's also, especially these days with new technology, new platforms constantly rolling out, there's FOMO, fear of missing out. Like they don't want to miss out on the next big thing. Now, let me give everyone a big teaching point, a big hint here, which is the next big thing isn't the next big thing until it's the next big thing. And what I mean by that is there is there's no alpha adopter advantage to say jumping on TikTok before there were people really on TikTok. And I'm not saying TikTok's a good platform. It's just a popular one to
Right.
use as an example here. If that is an advantageous platform, I would rather be a settler than a pioneer in these spaces.
Mm,
I will let other people wander off in the woods, get shot, eaten by bears, etc., until we find out, oh, there's actually gold in those hills. There's a resource that is valuable to us. Now, me being a well-tuned settler, aka we'll call it the entrepreneur here, who understands how to extract the resource, how to make the most of it, because I already have established systems, et cetera, that I can take with me over to that space. Now I will go over there and I will find my spot in it. Sure, there's an argument to be made for grab your username early on, but grab your username and know more. Then sit on it for a year until you see the case studies, and then follow those people into that fray, and then capitalize, yes, on a good resource. Just don't be an alpha adopter on this
that's right.
stuff.
No, I think that's so good. And when you and I were at the last conference together, I sat under your teaching, and one of the things I really love about what you presented there, but really your DNA is you're not always talking about that next thing, right? But you're
Yeah.
going backwards and saying, how do I build relationships? And so I heard you give a great presentation on what we would call referral marketing and
Yep.
building your referral. Talk about the importance of that, the relational side of business and growth and how impactful that can be.
Yeah, it's a total game changer. And I say this as someone who, by the way, like damning admission of myself, is that at one point, referral marketing was like antithetical to me as a human being. I sort of came into the marketing game focused squarely on the like Yannick Silver taught digital marketing space, essentially.
Yeah.
And a lot of Ryan Dice material, et cetera. Those are the massive influences on me. And I really want to believe that by just, say, producing great digital marketing, that would ultimately be enough. And
Mhm.
then what I discovered over time is there's a way that you elevate in life. There's a four ways that you get paid in life and that you generate value. The first way in life that you get paid is you get paid for what you do, right? So let's say you're a lawyer. You get paid for the research, for interrogatories, for depositions. You get paid for the basic stuff, for the fact that you show up and do the work. But level two is now you get paid for what you know. Now you've got enough experience that you become a strategist. You're accumulating knowledge. You're able to affect change, not just with your literal personal effort, but by having a great enough understanding of the ecosystem, enough and enough accumulated wisdom to produce a better product than someone who's just going to keep, putting together the same old bricks.
Right.
The third level, and this is the most important one, is you go from you get paid for what you do, then you get paid for what you know, and then you get paid for who you know. And that is the level most people are afraid of because we tell ourselves this lie of like, I'm an introvert, or I don't have anything interesting to say, or networking. People don't like networking. It feels so sleazy. It's like, yeah, because you don't want to do the business card swap
Yeah.
version. Sure, I get if that freaks you out a little bit, but the truth is, building an incredible network, that is a magnifier for how you will create value in the world. And it's actually really interesting, Michael. Whenever I'm working with a firm owner, or frankly, any business owner, this cycle always shows up where the business all of a sudden grows to such a level where when you're really early on in business, you probably are establishing a lot of individual relationships because you just have the time to do it, quite
Right.
frankly. Yeah, you go and meet people within your industry, all that. But then you start to maybe sell more of your product or service and things are taking off. Now you're looking for leverage on marketing. Now we are in the digital marketing space. Now I'm so focused on building systems. Now I'm in the operational game of my business. I'm trying to balance out my profit loss and really figure out my margins and all that. What's interesting is all of a sudden, and in law firms, it happens especially between the 1.5 to $2 million mark, where all of a sudden one of the owner's most valuable contributions is to revisit the past and go build one-on-one relationships. And it
Mm.
becomes a huge propellant of the next stage of growth, both in terms of marketing and talent acquisition for a firm.
Interesting. Yeah. And that's and dare I say nobody's teaching that, right? We're
Not in this
all
framework.
they're really not. And everybody's like, well, what's your next post or what should we be posting? And
Mhm.
and I just wrote down here, personality over posting. Meaning
I like it.
I'm a big fan of showing up as me. And
Mhm.
I think you should show up as you. And I
Yep.
teach my clients this, that you're really more interesting than you give yourself credit for.
That's right.
And this is where people really bond with you. And I'm really tired, Charlie, of the no like and trust thing. It's there, but it's just been pounded. I'm all about reaching the heart and
Mm.
building connections of trust so
Yeah.
that you'll do business with me, you'll refer me to others, all of that. But that comes when I let down the barriers and kind of show up and be a bit vulnerable. Do you find that to play out?
Yeah, and it's being vulnerable so that way others can be vulnerable. That becomes a superpower. And the easiest way to actually show vulnerability in many ways is to show curiosity. Because if you ask questions that might seem foolish or simple, etc., you are showing a level of vulnerability to that individual that will say, "Oh, I can actually have a real conversation with this person. We're not talking about the weather. We're talking about something real here." Showing up and asking someone like, "What are you passionate about?"
Yeah,
Oh, we introduced the word passion into a conversation. We just met, man. What do you mean we're talking passion? I'm like, yeah, no. What are you passionate about?
yeah,
What really excites you? It's like we're 6 words into this relationship and already we got something cooking here. And by the way, you're gonna uncover something about that person when you ask that type of question that of course they want to share. They do
yeah.
want to share that. And by the way, when you ask that question for everyone listening, you're probably going to get a confused answer at
Oh
first. They're
yeah.
going to give you like I don't know, I like breweries. Okay, sure. So within the framework of breweries, can we come up with a secondary question to dig deeper? Oh, that's really interesting. What are your favorite breweries and what do you love about 'em? Okay, now we're getting into building an actual relationship here, which by the way, not only are we creating this vulnerability that we can potentially go really deep on, because at some point or another you could be like, oh, if you were to open your own brewery, what would you do different than the ones out there? Now we can start a business conversation, have some
Right.
fun with it. And so when you go down that path, you create this level of connective tissue that doesn't exist in any of their other relationships. You become the one person that they know of who actually asked about them. You didn't ask just about the outside world and point at something and go, is that color blue? Yes, we agree that color is blue. Good, that color's blue. You actually asked about what's going on inside, and a game changer.
Dude, that's awesome. Another name just popped in, Dale Carnegie, right? How to Win Friends
Oh
and
yeah.
Influence People. That's exactly. I've had people for years tell me, Michael, you're such a good um um listener, and I'm like, I just ask questions and shut up. People will talk all day long, right?
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
so. Let's take that whole concept, what you're just talking about, and let's frame it in business outreaching to a prospect on a Zoom call, right?
Sure.
So many times we think that's a sales call and I've got to
Mhm.
get all versus it's an exploratory discovery call. I want to find out, are we even a good fit?
That's
Talk
right.
about that process.
So it's interesting. I was talking with someone who's a salesperson for one of the major digital marketing, web marketing companies for law firm owners. And he was asking about that type of process. And so for me, what I focused on is first off, when I'm having the conversation, if it is, say, the intention is that there's a sale to be made, right? It might be a discovery call or something like that. I do operate with in the back of my head. There is we are trying to move this forward, and that is what ends up steering the conversation, right? Instead of this being just kind of a banal like back and forth, let's create some momentum. Let's put a trajectory on this. But I don't start with, let me tell you about me and my program. What I start with is, first off, I'm going to ask them what's the best thing that happened to them in the last 30 days. That's my favorite way to start any of those
Love it.
conversations. And we're going to banter a little bit on that. And then I'm going to switch to the question of, it's interesting that we're having this conversation, but what I always find most interesting is why this conversation for you and why now? And now we can get into why they're actually showing up on this. And now we can talk about what's going on in their business or in their lives that they're interested in discussing, which means I can take everything that they talk about. And if I built the right program and found the right people to show up on these discovery calls or whatever it is, then it should be a match for the program,
Right.
and we're going to build a solution. By the end, the whole time I'm talking to them, I'm saying things like, "Oh yeah, so here's how we're going to handle that." Right? It's just we're working together already.
Yep.
That, as far as I'm concerned, we're working together already.
Yep.
So that way, as we get to the end, it's just a simple, "What do you think?"
That's right.
Which I got from Dave D, by the way. Credit to Dave on that.
Love it. Yeah, that's great. What do you think? My closing question caught it from Dave D is, Charlie, what would you like to do? And at that time, I mean, they
Yeah,
know,
that's
I
great.
know, everybody knows, and there's no pressure at all, right? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, we're a good fit, we're not a good fit, we all know it. And the going back to your point of ahead, I think it was the third point of who you know.
Yes.
I've had a lot of those conversations where we get to the end, we both know this is not a good fit. But you know what, Charlie? I know a guy who could probably help you. Would you be okay if I made that introduction?
Yeah.
Adds so much value, and it sets me up and keeps my credibility high because I'm here to serve you.
Oh
And
yeah.
and it's only because I've built my network of people over time that I can make an introduction and say, Charlie, here's Johnny. I think you guys need to talk. Go have at it.
Exactly. You want to be the guy who knows a guy or gal, right? That's the positioning that you want to have.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you really positioned yourself as I'm reading your emails. By the way, and you'll tell them later how to get on your email
Yes.
list. You really need to get on Charlie's email list. His Friday emails are stunning for the weekend. Um, but you talk a lot about you've positioned yourself as a thought leader. Dare I say that? I don't even know if that's the right word, but
I'll take it.
okay, because you've been around this world long enough. You've got your roots deep enough
Hmm.
that you are bringing concepts and constructs to the table that make people think differently. And I really believe that's where growth happens for entrepreneurs. Fair?
Yes, yes. I
Yep.
love a good framework. I find that there's so much power in a framework because what it takes, especially for entrepreneurs, like for folks like us, Michael, there are a lot of options, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of thoughts that we have to contain. And when someone can come into our lives and say, "Hey, this big chaotic chunk of information, this thought process that you have, but you don't know how to articulate, I'm going to articulate it in 2 sentences for you. And now you'll be able to use that thought process over and over again without needing to go through the mental monologue for 45 minutes. Instead, you'll say these 2 sentences and transformation will happen." I think, it's funny. I actually work with a couple of coaches sort of on the side, working with them on this type of thing, on elevating from what I would call a guru to a thought leader to a thought owner. And a thought owner, the example I love to use is Mike Michalowicz and his book Profit First,
Right.
right? Because that book, when people don't need to say go check out Mike Michalowicz, they say go check out Profit First
Yeah.
because he owns that idea. He's not just a thought leader on finance, personal
Yeah.
business finance. He is a thought owner of Profit First, and that is a transformative power.
Dude, I love that. All right, rewind the tape and go back and listen to that. Because Charlie, what you just gave us was gold. And it's back in my day, I cut my teeth on Positioning by Jack Trout and Al Reese.
Got it
And
right over there.
same thing,
Yeah.
right? It's that position in the mind that goes, oh, you are the king. You're the one that everybody goes to. And as a business owner, as a law firm owner, when you can do that in your market to your audience, everything changes, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When you can own a term, you want to be right. Profit first is to finance what Kleenex is to tissues, right? They just
Absolutely.
own the market, and you can absolutely do that too. Whether you're owning a market, a whole category, or you own a word, like Tim Grover owns the word relentless now because he published the book Relentless. Like these are ways to really make yourself permanently known. Alex Hormozy, as well as Alex Hormozy is known, he will increasingly be known as the $100 million leads, $100 million offers
Right.
guy first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a pretty good position, right?
Oh yeah.
And the thing I tell clients, and you can tell me if you agree or not, is most of the time what I find, Charlie, is my clients, these law firm owners, right? they have a story to tell of why they
Mm.
do what they do, whether they're personal injury or estate planning or whatever. There's a reason they're doing that, but they're not talking about that story,
Yeah.
and there's a
Yeah.
problem there, right?
There is. So I think of, say, Brian Beckham down in Texas. Brian published a book about on success tips, success for leaders in particular, and he interviewed a bunch of folks and put his own thoughts on leadership in there that then spawned a podcast. So that way he can be known outside of it. One of the guys that I work with, also in Texas, Scott Snellings, he has a podcast called The Driven Crowd. And it's all about, and he also has a society, the RLG, or Read, Learn, Grow Society, that he put together because he wants to occupy that unique space throughout the entirety of Texas. And, we believe it could be something that goes nationwide for him with this concept of, his first thought is, hey, if I'm going to be around people, why not be around equally driven people? We're the driven crowd. Great. There's the name of it. Let's start publishing and owning that space. And it takes time, right? Like a lot of people want to own the term, but they won't fight to own the term. They
Right.
just hope for it. Like Tim Grover, going back to the book Relentless, when it first came out, it was not a smash hit. That's what people forget. It took time for him to build momentum and continue to push and drive that book forward. So that way he would have ownership of that, as opposed to being, just another person who tried.
That's right. That's right. And in the Relentless is a great example of that. And I think law firm owners and business owners, they give up way too soon.
Yeah.
So I cut my teeth with marketing with Roy Williams, and he's built lots of businesses and things. But he says, look at the mind of your audience as a really old oak 4x4.
Mm,
Your message is a nail, and your repetition is a hammer.
mm.
And you're trying to drive the nail through the board. He says, but usually what business owners do go tap, 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 tap. Oh, it's not going anywhere. I'm going to go to a new place on the board. Tap, tap. And I
Right.
thought, ah,
Right. That's a good one. I like that.
Roy Williams, the Wizard of Ads, he's amazing in things like that. But in business with marketing, and let's bring it back to you and how you work with attorneys in I want to say consistency, clear message, consistency,
Hmm.
and probably, and I've not been in your program, but I'm guessing you don't say, okay, here are the 32 things you need to do. It's probably more like, let's do this one thing and then let's add another and let's add another. Is that fair? And let's talk about that. And then how do you actually work with attorneys? What's it look like?
Yeah. So in terms of installing, and that's the term that I like to use, installation, installing pieces into someone's practice. The first, it'll depend obviously a little bit on the client, but if we're talking about core playbook here, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, we need to install the referral marketing playbook. Great. Let's get you into those habits. Let's get
Yeah.
you into those habits there. And if there are reasons that you're not achieving those habits, let's address those, which may uncover bigger issues that we're going to deal with in a coaching situation. From there, I want to make sure that we have 3 core metrics nailed down in the practice. I'm only asking you to monitor 3 metrics at a time in your practice, and we'll monitor those for the next 6 months before we add any other core data points. I'm not telling you you're not allowed to track anything else. I'm just saying the numbers that we want to see move are these 3 numbers. So yeah, we boil it down to really simple concepts. I actually recently posted out that in 2024, I believe that the marketers who are going to be the most successful are not going to be the best tacticians. It's going to be the ones with the best habits. Those people who are just in the game, constantly publishing. I actually just today shared some information with folks about, my general like plan for success is 3 steps. Number one, build, iterate, improve something every single day. Number two, put out some form of marketing every single day. And number three, just keep going. That's it. That's the majority of what I'm going to do. And obviously, if I'm going to be in the coaching business, I should be modeling what I expect from my clients.
Yeah.
And those clients work with me either one-on-one, in a large group format, or in a small group format. So a mastermind program like our recently launched Genesis program is where we're adding new folks right now. And the private coaching is currently closed as of you and I having this
Sure.
conversation. But if you go to the website lawfirmalchemy.com, you'll be able to see what is currently available. And there are some great free resources up there as well. There's a lot of stuff that a little bit of that Alex Hormozy, build some great things, see who's going to show up,
Yeah.
and then try and play with the winners.
Yeah, you funny you mentioned Alex because I was on your website earlier and you got a 52-minute video training there, and you say just watch it. And I'm clicking it, waiting for the pop up to get my email, and there's no pop up. I'm like,
No pop.
dude, this is amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. The breakthrough machine. Yeah,
Yeah.
strategies that you can use within the business that will both grow the business and get you more operationally sound.
Well, and I want everybody to go there. So law firm alchemy, I'll have it in the show notes because, and here's what I want you to understand from a business perspective, from a marketing perspective. Charlie's giving you 52 minutes on his website to get to know him, like him,
Mm.
find out, do I like how he teaches? Do I like how he looks? Do I like how he speaks? Well, maybe, maybe not. If I
And
do,
that's okay.
totally okay. But if I do, I'm going to take the next step of whatever that is. Maybe then I will get on your email. But too many people try, like, go to their websites and the call to action is schedule a call with me now. I am
Yes.
not ready to take that step yet. I'm researching, and you've done a great job on your website to say, hey, I'm Charlie. Thanks for being here. Here's some free training. Here's some other stuff. Figure out who I do. Here's some testimonials of people have helped. And you're giving us all the, hate to say social proof, but
But
that's kind of,
that's the category, right? Someone created the name for that, and they created a whole category for us, social proof. Yeah.
yeah, of this is who Charlie is. This is his background. This is what he's done. And if you like this kind of training teaching that's real, that's authentic, um, that helps you grow over time. I don't think you offer a purple pill or a magic
No.
silver bullet.
Nope.
Praise God for that.
Yeah.
It's consistency over time using a proven framework.
Yeah, you'll have your opportunity to get your hockey stick growth moment. Like that
Yeah,
happens in businesses, but most people look to have the hockey stick inverted where they get the big growth right at the beginning. And I kind of go, look, your big growth is right at the beginning. One of two things happen. Either you were basically a lottery winner and congratulations, maybe VC capital, whatever it was, or you grew to $100,000 really fast and you don't know how to get past that anymore.
right.
And that is, you don't want that. You want to build something that is designed for the long haul.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Building a business, and Charlie can help you think through all of that because I tell people all the time, top line revenue is not the goal. I like
Mhm.
bottom line revenue. I like net
Yep.
profit, but it's even more than that. It's what am I doing? How am I enjoying the life, the experience? Because I can have net profit and get sucked dry every
Yeah.
day. That's not worth it.
No, no. I mean, I was just talking with some entrepreneurs recently about building a coaching business. I said, look, there's kind of three categories you can go for here: lifestyle, enterprise, or empire. And you just got to figure out which one is right for you. No one's journey is wrong
Right.
unless it's a journey they are actively complaining about. Otherwise, it's your journey. Live it, love it, enjoy it. I'm not going to judge anyone for it because do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Live the life you want to live and just support people and help others grow wherever they are and be a resource. So, Charlie, man,
Absolutely.
we could talk for hours. I know that.
We could.
What tell us one more time, where do people go if they're sitting here going, this is kind of cool. I want to watch that 52-minute training thing. Where is that? Tell us again, how do people get a hold of you?
So if you go to the website lawfirmalchemy.com, you'll see that video that Michael's referencing on the home page, the breakthrough machine. Definitely recommend checking that out. And you'll see all the other goodies that are available on that page. And if you're a law firm owner, including how we can work together.
Yeah, I think that's good. And Charlie comes very highly recommended from me and from just many other people. He's not only great at what he does and great marketing, but he's a good guy. And he's
I
just one of those
appreciate
guys you
that.
want to just hang out with and he's genuine. So I appreciate that about you, Charlie. Thanks, brother, for being my guest, for sharing such great content today and helping us understand frameworks and really the importance of bringing our personality, our person to business so that we can just enjoy life because business should be fun
Yes, it
and
should.
it becomes fun and more fun when we hang around the right types of people. Charlie, you're the right types of people. So thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate you.